Unless the NPPF recognises the intrinsic value of the whole countryside, not just its special areas, we fear a rash of sporadic and inappropriate development across the country, disfiguring the local landscape, which is so valued by local communities.
There are some schemes. The NFU are running schemes, as you may well be aware, to persuade the older generation of farmers to retire and allow farms to be passed on. I think the average age of the average farmer at the moment is about 60, 65, might even be older, which was a huge strain on it, and it's very hard to get in. I recognise the problem. I don't think there's a government solution to it, but I'm very keen on what the NFU is doing in order to persuade people to retire and pass their farms on to people who want to get going.
We need to get back to a position, or we need to get to a position where we are independent. We are again, not dependent on people like the Russians or anyone else to be able to survive if there is a shortage of food for any reason. We should be independent, or at least a long way down that road, and we're going in the other direction.
We need to be emphasising the importance and the centrality of the majority of vocational careers in this country, and of course farming and agriculture are right at the top. We need to be encouraging young people to go into those careers, and one of the ways we can make sure that happens is to try to lift the agricultural workers out of the lowest paid quartet of the people who work. This government did something that Margaret Thatcher didn't do. Margaret Thatcher got rid of every pay board except agriculture, because they recognised even then that agriculture was always going to be under threat from low pay and unscrupulous employers at some point. They got rid of the agricultural pay board 2 years ago. This means that now in agriculture, you are more likely to have gang masters employing people to do the hardest work at low rates of pay, and that encourages more migrant workers because it doesn't pay enough for people who need to live and earn in this country. We need to make sure that agriculture and countryside employment is seen as a huge element of importance to us, and we need to encourage young people to take part in it. And actually, it is a government responsibility to ensure that vocational courses are seen as relevant and important.
I agree with a lot of what Martin said. When I was at Brinsby, we had a lot of trouble getting young people to come and do the agriculture courses. It is important. The workforce is ageing, and we need to get those people in there. But something else we need in the countryside to support our farmers. One is we need fast broadband. It's very important for them to help run their businesses. And the second is we need to make sure that the supermarkets give them a fair deal, because that is not happening. There are local markets, which is brilliant. If we get the broadband out to them, what they can do is do things like food assembly, where you get people to do click and collect, and they're buying from the farms. We need all those sorts of schemes.
Yes. In order to get food security, we need financial security for those employed.
We support the minimum wage should be a living wage, and that it should be tax-free, and so that everybody should be able to earn enough to live.
We do need to sustain the employment, the beginnings of a career in agriculture, and we need to support that. If that means sustaining the wages at a level which they become more sustainable, including a living wage, then so be it. I agree with that.
Yes, is the answer. And part of that will also ensure that we do away with the 0-hour contracts, which a lot of people in the agriculture are having to suffer.
Yes, absolutely, and I think more industries need them as well, not just the agricultural industry.
Absolutely. I was very surprised when they were abolished. I'm fully in favour of the living wage. I don't think that the minimum wage is enough. But I also don't think we should be expected to pay tax or national insurance on the living wage, because if you cannot, you need the money to pay to live. That's the whole point of it. So you shouldn't be taxed on it.
I was surprised and concerned when it went. I was surprised that was the decision that was taken. You've asked a direct question. I don't know what my position is. I want to see whether there is, whether through the minimum wage there is a way of ensuring that there is a proper base. But it is something I'll explore. No one's ever asked me that question. I remember seeing it, being surprised, but I've never discussed or debated it with anyone. I'd like to look into that, and I promise you I'll do so.